Hello everyone, welcome back to Bloodborne. It's later in the same day and it's kind of late at night, but I'm so excited to play more Bloodborne that I decided to just put in one more session. I'll probably keep this one pretty short, or at least I'm hoping to, and I just want to kind of get into Cathedral Ward. We'll get that zone started up. And I think we can maybe backtrack and talk to some NPCs back in Yharnam. So, as before, I don't know, because I've never played the game, I don't know the areas that super well. I know certain big structural things, and I know Cathedral Ward is really where a lot of the other hubs start branching. I think there's at least 3 or 4 other areas in the game that specifically like branch off of this area. What do we got? Blood Gem Workshop Tool. We can now attach gems to our weapons and inspect. The Bergenworth spider hides all manner of rituals and keeps our lost master from us. A terrible shame. It makes my head shudder uncontrollably. Interesting. So that's our first hearing of Bergenworth, which is one of the areas in the game we will be exploring eventually. I don't think it directly connects to Cathedral Ward, but I think we get to it from an area that branches off Cathedral Ward. We'll see. Again, I don't know things that well. Alright, we are in Cathedral Ward, everybody. We get a new lamp, like, right after. And then we meet this fella, this cool guy. Hello, sir.
Hmm? Oh, you must be a hunter. Very sorry. The incense must have masked your scent. Good. I've been waiting for one of your ilk. These hunts have everyone all locked up inside, waiting for it to end. It always does, always has, you know, since forever. But it won't end nicely, not this time. Even some folks hiding inside are going bad. The screams of women folk, the stench of blood, the snarls of beasts, none of them's too uncommon now. Yharnam's done for, tell ya. But if you spot anyone with their wits about them, tell them about this here Oedon chapel. They'll be safe here. The incense wards off the beasts. Spread the word. Tell them to come on over, if you wouldn't mind.
Okay. So we now have a place that we can send people.
I know I shouldn't be asking you, but if you happen upon someone while hunting,
Yep.
if they seem worth being, and I do sincerely hope they are.
Yeah, basically same information. So once again, incense seems to, even if maybe it doesn't drive away the beasts, but it hides the smell of blood, perhaps, which is good for certain things. But yeah, we now have a place that we can tell people, like, hey, come here, you can be safe here. we can actually gather a bunch of NPCs, basically. Like, we can instruct NPCs. There's two separate locations. There's this place and one other. We could say to NPCs, like, hey, you can go to one or you can go to the other. Oh. Hello? Oh, ow. Drop anything? 239 though is pretty good. It's like a lot of souls. Oh, whoa, oh, you're a stronger crow. More dangerous crows. More Madman's knowledge. Okay. Crow that takes 2 hits, not 1. So yeah, those big tall guys are potentially a problem. I think they're kind of one of the main enemies in this area. Welcome to the Cathedral Ward, everybody. Speak of the devil. Ow. Ow. I was trying to get a shot off on him. There we go. Just to see... Okay, Visceral does kill him. In 1. 258, okay. It's a Spectre. And they're not super fast attackers, so getting those off on them isn't bad. Though, could potentially be kind of a waste of ammo. Wooden shield. Which, probably not super effective. Gate is closed by a device, so we could probably open that from the other side. We might have to loop back around. So, I think this is one of the first times, if not the first time, that we're seeing a cradle. It's going to be a recurrent theme as we get deeper into the game. Is this a door? No. Wouldn't make sense for it to be, I suppose. Oh, also as a funny thing, if you run into the fire, you'll actually take damage, and if you trick enemies to walk onto the fire, they'll also take damage. Which is not super common, but it's easy for enemies with huge hitboxes, like the pigs, in certain areas, as far as I understand it. So main gate doesn't take us anywhere, really. I think this door, we have to... Okay, that's another, like, loop back around that'll get us back to here from somewhere else. So, really our only option is left. Just about. Oh, we got another one of these guys. Are there many of them around? No? Let's try to fight him without using ammo. Ow. Not too bad. Need to get better at dodging, but that's been true this whole game. Come to me. Want more room? Okay. Relatively quick combo takes him down if I can get behind him. Oh, blood vials, thank you. It's a lot of them. 6 in one drop. Okay, so once again, we already have some split paths. We can go right, or we can go... I guess it's technically straight. Let's go straight for now. We'll see what options this affords us. Oh, we do get a nice big overview of Yharnam. That's nice. Time for lights. Treat dawn with care. And down we go. Okay. Got some dogs. We got some kind of regular dudes patrolling again. Let's see if we can draw one or more of them over. Okay, 2 hit. Ow. Not doing great. We're doing okay. More blood vials is good. Let's actually get that back up, because we'll probably find more. Okay, so these guys haven't gotten much stronger. They're still like 2 or 3 hits. Cold blood do, excellent. Oh, more Molotovs. That's good. We haven't gotten those in a while. Now, what I can't remember, even though like I just played a session a couple hours ago, is how many blood echoes I need to level up. I'm gonna guess it's like 3,000 to 4,000 now, but I'm not positive. Okay, so we already have multiple branching paths again. We can go in, or we can go left. I think left is to an NPC, so let's start there with him. And he has a... oh, well, no, that's not an NPC. Ow. You're not an NPC at all. You're a regular gun boy. 2 hits almost took him. That's good. Maybe there still is an NPC over here, I'm not sure. Or is that just a... it's just an alternate pathway to get upstairs? So we're on the upper floors of... that's... okay, that's the door down there. We can explore this area, though, before we... well... what's up here? Oh, there's the NPC. Okay. So I was right that this is sort of where we access this NPC. And his... once again, his quest is a little obtuse to me. I mean, the NPCs in general in these games, like... you can kind of... you can't rely upon the fact that they're always going to be in the same place, which is kind of a problem.
You're a beast hunter, aren't you? I knew it. That's precisely how I started out. Oh, beg pardon. You may call me Alfred, protege of Master Ligarius, hunter of vile bloods. So, what say you? Our prey might differ, but we are hunters, the both of us. Why not cooperate and discuss the things we've learned? Oh, very good. Very good indeed. Take this to celebrate our acquaintance.
Fire paper. Okay, that's a good item. That lets us temporarily apply a fire effect to our weapon. And we get a prey action.
Beast hunting is a sacred practice. May the good blood guide your way. There must be oodles for us to share. Go on. Just tell me what piques your interest. As you know, the Healing Church is the fountainhead of blood healing. Well, I'm a simple hunter, quite unfamiliar with the ins and outs of the institution. But I have heard that the holy medium of blood healing is venerated in the main cathedral, and that counselors of the old church reside in the high stratum of the cathedral ward. If you seek blood healing, and the church is willing, you should pay them a visit. Byrgenwerth is an old place of learning, and the Tomb of the Gods, carved out below Yharnam, should be familiar to every hunter. Well, once a group of young Byrgenwerth scholars discovered a holy medium deep within the tomb. This led to the founding of the Healing Church and the establishment of blood healing. In this sense, everything sacred in Yharnam can be traced back to Byrgenwerth. But today, the college lies deep within a tangled wood, abandoned and decrepit. And furthermore, the Healing Church has declared Byrgenwerth forbidden ground. It's unclear how many of its scholars remain alive, but only they know the password that allows passage through the gate. I bid you farewell. It has been a pleasure. May the good blood guide your way.
All right. So we got kind of a lore dump from this guy. What I was saying right before we walked up to him was quest advancement is a little bit obtuse. Like, you kind of... You can't rely upon NPCs always being in the same places, and sometimes to advance their plot, you need to find them in different places in a certain order. And in other cases, you need to interact with them at certain points in order to either give them information or give them items to advance their story. So I'm going to try to get him as far as I can, but I don't know. Like, if you want like a 100% perfect playthrough or something, you might need to watch, you know, there's people who do like lore playthroughs and things that are meant to have every quest line completed and things like that, which is significantly more doable. Another man's knowledge. Significantly more doable if you're an experienced player than not. Like, we'll probably trip into some of the NPC storylines continuing, but like, it's hard to know if we will ever actually get them all. So we just pulled a lever, which has now moved that big old thing. I guess we could drop down into the space. I'm a little concerned about there being enemies. Yeah. Ow. I was correct in my concerns. Ambush. Sort of. More Madman's knowledge. Cool. But still, you know, even if we don't complete his quest, or like his NPC storyline, he did just give us a ton of lore. So that's on the second part first, I suppose. He just gave us like a ton more lore, a ton more info about both the Healing Church and the Byrgenwerth. So that's the second time we've heard of Byrgenwerth, and we hear about it like not long after first hearing that name, back in the room just before Oedon Chapel. Tempering Bloodstone Gem. Cool. So when we go back to Hunter's Dream, we now have a gem to put into our weapon. But we've now learned what Byrgenwerth is, or at least have a better sense of what it is, which is that it is a It is a university where they studied what is now the foundations of the Healing Church. And specifically, they made reference to the fact that, like, they deep below the earth, they found like the Tomb of Gods, and that in which they found a holy medium that then inspired the Healing Church as we know it. Which, moderate spoilers, or early, I guess, I don't know, like not mega spoilers, but I guess just to explain that a little. I don't know where we're going now. In essence, there were, Spectre, I can go, well, up doesn't go anywhere. There were ruins of an ancient civilization, the Thumerians. We'll hear that name soon enough, I'm sure. The Thumerians were Oh, another lamp. The Thumerians were this ancient civilization that had contact with the Great Ones, these gods we've heard of. And the Thumerians left behind all these ruins of their civilization. Pungent blood cocktail, nice. That upon the discovery and study of this thing, these scholars came across the crystallized blood of long dead old ones, who are great ones, I should say, which upon consumption sort of like accelerates your mind. This town is long abandoned. Hunters would not want it here. Open door. I think this is Old Yharnam. Yes, Old Yharnam. Which we're probably not going to venture into for now. I'm going to grab the items maybe.
You there? Hunter! Didn't you see the warning? Turn back at once. Old Yharnam, burned and abandoned by men, is now home only to beasts. They are of no harm to those about. Turn back, or the hunter will face the hunt.
I'll turn back, but I'm just gonna grab, oh, that's great, 6 more vials. Oh. Okay, you're not too tough. Beast man. So we got a bridge there. We got stairs down here. Oh, I want that thing. Oh, I think he got away too fast, though. I'm not going to chase him for now. I think we'll have a chance if we come back later. That, those little things, like, spawn resources. They're hard to catch, but if you catch them and kill them, you'll get some rare stuff as a result. Let's go back to the Hunter's Dream for now. So, the Scholars of Bergenworth discover this stuff, find out that it has a bunch of properties. The church forms around the worship of this stuff. And, oh. Hello? Do you have anything new? I could buy the hand lantern. I don't know if I really want to. Okay. I could sell stuff. There's certain things I know I'm probably never going to use, like the shining coins, which, although it won't get me a lot, is, oh, something. Oh, you're back. Hello.
The moon is close. It will be a long hunt tonight. If the beasts loom large and threaten to crush your spirits, seek a holy chalice, as every hunter before you has. A holy chalice will reveal the tomb of the gods, where hunters partake in communion.
So, oh, we just got one shard. So yeah, there's back to the tomb of the gods, the Thumerian ruins. Besides being this like lore thing that like hunters are kind of like religiously addicted to this hunt or something, or like the fact that like you consume blood as the result, or like you spill blood as the result of like hunting the beast, so you get exposed to this ongoing relationship with the ascended blood or whatever, that like, you know, church administers the blood, blood of the gods. Well, I should actually say, members of the church consume the blood of the gods. Their own blood then becomes like holy in some capacity. Like it takes on this new special healing property. So then they draw their blood, their own blood, and give that to people. That is the basis of the healing church, and like as people keep building up this blood and get addicted to it and keeps building up and building it up and eventually they become bestial or whatever, the hunters who hunt the beasts are then sort of getting these blood echoes, these remnants or whatever of greatness or godliness or great one energy or whatever you want to call it, sort of as a result of the hunt, and hunters are therefore in their own way kind of like addicted or like indebted to this system. So the chalice dungeons, as they're called, are, besides the fact that they're a means of expanding the lore a little bit further, because you can have these ruins that you have to explore, they're also meant to be this, they're kind of like an expansion upon the base game. I'm going to fortify the weapon, by the way. Fortifying weapons using blood gems. Blood gems imbue weapons with special characteristics. So we have the saw cleaver, and we have a tempering blood gem stone, which is a it basically just increases my scaling a little bit, so I get 1 extra damage, physical attack up by 0.7%. So it's not a great gem, but it's like better than nothing, I guess. Can I also, I can't put anything in that because it's the wrong shape, so yeah, sure, we'll put that in, I suppose. So that's not a bad thing. The chalice dungeons are a means of expanding the base game content. So there's a handful of them. We access them from this side. There's a handful of them. Holy chalice is required. That are preset. Short ritual, root chalice is required to conduct the ritual. Okay. There's a handful of them that are preset that sort of advance the story in their own way, but like there's also randomized seeds of dungeons, so almost in this like roguelike way or roguelite way, you can get the pseudo randomized dungeon, and hypothetically you might think that there's like millions of possible dungeons because of like all these different room layout possibilities and all the different enemies that can possibly show up. As memory serves, I think it's been like data mined or something. There's only like a few thousand possible dungeons actually. Like the game's vision of randomization is actually like pretty bottlenecked.
Welcome home, good hunter. I must have drifted off.
Wake
What
up.
is it you desire?
Chance
Very well.
blood echoes.
Let me stand.
Okay, so we're at 3,600 already for leveling. Let's keep pumping damage up a little bit, little by little. Which isn't really we're not getting huge amounts of extra damage, but I think by comparison the vitality seems better. Let's do damage for now. I mean, ultimately we're going to do both, so it's not like I'm wasting anything. And we need 3,900 for the next, so...
Farewell, good hunter.
Okay. Let's go back and see if we can talk to some NPCs real quick. I also want to see if I can talk to the NPC that triggers the availability of the other place you can send people, and I'm gonna try to send some people to them. I know by way of spoilers that I'm only gonna send them to one location because one of we'll see. I won't spoil it yet. We'll get there when we get there. Let's go back. Okay, so that's still closed. Is the werewolf back? No. Oh, item. Oh, blood vials. Nice. But yeah, the big thrusts of our story have kind of started filling in terms of these various elements. I guess, like, the game hasn't actually told you about the Thumerians yet. I just know about them from reputation, so to speak. I guess I could have gone to this one, but... Is it a doorway I need to talk to is what I can't remember. I think she's in here, though. Sefka. Up here. Yes.
Oh, well, hello. Splendid. Let me ask you a small kindness. You're soon off to hunt, I presume? Then, if you find any survivors, tell them to seek Yusefka's clinic. Upon my Hippocratic oath, if they are yet human, I will look after them. Perhaps even cure them. This sickness, these beasts, they are not to be feared. This time the night is long. I may be trapped here, but I should do something to help. I'll even offer a reward for your cooperation. Tempted? Well, off you go then. If you find anyone, you can assure, please.
Yeah. Okay. So that's Yusefka. Moderate spoilers, once again. Yusefka is the one you don't want to send them to. Like, Yusefka seems nice or something, and, like, it seems safe because it's, like, this, medical clinic, essentially. And it seems like, oh, yeah, that's the place you'd send people to, not to, that creep in the chapel with all of the incense. But in reality, that is safe, and Yusefka's clinic is not, because that's actually not Yusefka. That is an imposter claiming to be Yusefka. The doors are closed for to hide the fact that that is, in fact, maybe not even a human who we're talking to. I can't remember exactly what's behind the door, but we can now tell some NPCs.
You needn't concern yourself with me. I'm afraid I'm of little help now. But before I did this...
Oh. Flame sprayer?
I made no use of it, but perhaps you...
New gun? Can I not tell you to go somewhere safe?
What afflicted me was incurable. But this town gave me hope. Their strange blood bought me time. I was most fortunate. Unharmed by the plague of beasts. I can even die human. Don't...
Oh. Poor guy. I was hoping we could save him. But it might not be in the cards. I thought he was one of the ones we could send back, but I guess not. Did he drop anything? No. Let's talk to the lady over here. And I'm going to try to find Gascoigne's daughter again, because I can advance her plot line also, now that, frankly, Gascoigne is dead. And I have her mother's brooch. This guy's redder now. Can't tell if that's just a weird rendering thing. Well, in any case, I believe the one mean lady, I think, is this way. She was very rude, but I will help anyway. So yeah, basically the creep in the clinic, or the creep in the chapel, despite being creepy, is actually a good guy. It's immediately kind of like this inversion, I think, of this kind of Victorian trope that like evil's on the outside or something. This creepy guy is actually really good, and then the Yosefka, which outwardly seems like more positive or something, is actually maybe not so good.
So what is it now? Are much better ways to pass the time. Unless you found me a nice safe place.
We're going to send her to Oedon Chapel.
Well, what do you know? An outsider worth a lick of salt. Well, don't just stand there. Don't you have work to do? Go slit some throats. Get this mess done with.
Okay. She's been talked to. Now, getting back to Gascoigne's daughter, I can get from the bridge, I think. I think the bridge is the way to do it. I can't go up the bridge that way. So there's two ways I can do it. I can go down and then take the ladder up to her, or I can go up to the bridge. I can go up to the bridge. Huh. I think up is the better path. If I can remember how. I think it's yes. Silver bullets. Not a lot of happy endings in this game, I'm sorry to say. So advancing these quests isn't inherently like a good thing. It's not like doing this is necessarily good, but it does push the story forward. Now, how do I get to her? Not that way. Come on. Okay, these guys aren't so bad. Now, she should be down one of these ways. I think she's down the left. What's down here again? Oh yeah, I'll overlook onto the main street. Okay. So, unfortunately, Gascoigne's daughter, there's no possible happy ending for her. Well, I mean, I guess we don't totally know that. For Gascoigne's daughter, I should say, what occurs in the dream, or what occurs in Yharnam as we know it, is bad. Whether or not any of this is real is actually a little bit dubious, which isn't to like undercut the seriousness of the situation by saying like it's all a dream. Like, I'm not trying to like minimize the gravity of the situation or something, but there is this question of like, is there something fundamentally supernatural about this night that like when the morning comes, like the badness of this night will be. Oh. Ow. Ow. Don't die now, don't die now. Okay. That, like, I don't know, something will come to pass as a result of us, like, ending the nightmare of the night or something, maybe. Also, like, undoes a lot of the horrors that have sort of transpired here, or, like, this is maybe, like, some kind of, like, psychic realm or something. It's a little bit ambiguous.
Hello, Miss Hunter. Still can't find my mum. Miss Hunter, was it really her? Mummy, Mummy, leave me alone.
Can we not talk to her? Yeah. Okay. So the sort of sad end for her, I'm sorry to say, is I guess it's a little bit ambiguous, but I think the like pseudo canonical ending for her, like if presuming any of this is real, as said, like we could be in this kind of like weird nightmare realm or whatever, is that if we leave the area and we like, we'll advance time over the course of the game, like after we beat one particular boss, it goes from like the sunset period to like night, like nighttime night. And then if we beat a different boss, we'll go into another phase change that I won't spoil yet. And I believe, I don't know which one it is, but if we advance the clock at least a little bit, if we advance the clock at least a little, can we talk to him again or no? Okay. You will actually find, I believe, a ribbon in the sewer that gives the indication that she was trying to find the way to where her mother and father died, and she herself probably either died in the process or maybe went bestial, but I don't think that's super likely since she's just a kid. Oh, we have 8 insight now, I want to mention as well. That's good to know. So our insight goes up every time, not only when we kill a boss, but even just seeing the boss raises our insight. Let's maybe see if we can level again real quick, and then as I said, I think this is going to be a shorter one, so we'll read some lore. That's not enough to level up, I don't think. If we sell some stuff, we might be able to level up from there. Yeah, it's not a very happy ending for her, unfortunately, if it's real at all, but I don't think that there's any alternative. Like, I think the two implications are, like, if you don't give her the brooch, then she dies in her house, basically, and if you do give her the brooch, she leaves her house attempting to find her mother, and passes as a result. Oh, we can also buy bloodstone shards now. How much do you cost? Oh wait, no, that's inventory. That's what I have. I thought I was at the store already. Ridiculous. Okay, let's read some lore stuff real quick. We have not read fire paper. Coarse paper that applies fire to weapons when rubbed. A hunter tool found in the Healing Church workshop. Since the tragedy that struck old Yharnam, fire has become a staple in the beast hunts, and is thought to cleanse impurity. Certain types of beasts have an abnormal fear of flame. So, in the way that, like, other games have sort of traditional elemental alignments, like, beasthood is its own kind of, like, elemental alignment in this game, and, like, certain enemies are beast type, and beast type enemies are hurt by fire. So that's why I was using the Molotov cocktails on both Gascoigne and on and on the werewolves, because I know that fire damage does extra to them. And besides Molotovs and fire paper, there are weapons we will get late in game, I believe, that naturally have associated fire effects. So we'll get there when we get there. What else is there, if anything? Nothing here. Blood Gem Workshop Tool. A misplaced workshop tool from the hunter's dream. The hunter who retrieves this can fortify weapons by kneading blood gems into them. Blood gems add properties to weapons when used to fortify them, as blood defines an organism. Nothing else new. So this ties back to this whole thing about like finding the blood of great ones down in the Thumerian ruins. I don't know how literal it's supposed to be, but I again, maybe my own headcanon, a lot of the terms that they use to describe this sort of holy blood is like crystalline or rock-like in nature, and I do kind of like this idea that like it maybe is fluid when it flows, like immediately after being cut, but it literally, like as it, rather than congealing into like a jelly, it crystallizes into something rigid and hard. We also got the flame sprayer from the very kind soul outside the that second lantern. So the flame sprayer, a special weapon used by certain members of the healing church, spits searing flames by using blood-imbued quicksilver bullets as a special medium. Not the most efficient weapon by any stretch, but sometimes a sea of flame is just what the doctor ordered. Besides, the beasts of Yharnam can always use a good cleansing. So that ties back to some of the things we've been talking about. I think that, as best I understand, this weapon is kind of like a resource hog. But I do believe that it can become like ridiculously overpowered if you are facing some of the beast bosses and you get in like really in their face, like melee range. You can just like melt their health bars with it. I'm not 100% sure about that, and I don't know if I'll really ever risk it, but it's kind of a interesting, tempting concept. Then wooden shield. A crude wooden shield used by the masses who have arisen to join the hunt. Hunters do not normally employ shields, ineffectual against the strength of the beasts as they tend to be. Shields are nice, but not if they engender passivity. So they do give you a shield. It's very bad. It's actually, as I understand it, kind of a joke weapon. It will not defend you. It is not useful in combat. There's potentially some uses for it, but it is not recommended that it be used, and is kind of like a trap. Again, as I understand it, at least, a trap that new players fall into sometimes. Nothing new there, nothing new there, nothing new there. Okay. So we're all good there. Let's see if we can sort of scrounge up some stuff by selling to the Bath Messengers. I'm probably not going to use Shining Coins, but they're also worth nothing. I don't really want to sell anything right now. I guess I could sell the wooden shield. It said it's kind of supposed to be garbage. We're going to sell one Madman's Knowledge, which I think is enough for us to level.
Welcome. What is it you... Very well. Let me...
Yep, just barely. So, I don't entirely know the totality of all the advantages of having higher insight.
Farewell, good hunter.
I do know that there are advantages, though. So that's something I don't want to be selling Madman's Knowledge. I think we should be using them. And in particular, there's some funny and weird things that could start happening. If we get our insight sufficiently high enough early game, you can actually get some really weird stuff happening. In particular, when we pass the cradle right at the beginning of the episode, I mentioned that like cradles and birth are going to be a recurrent theme throughout this game. And that's actually, we'll maybe talk about theming as the game goes on, but like there is this whole Victorian preoccupation that shows up. Here we go. This is a perfect backdrop for this talk. There's this whole thing with like horror and gender in Victorian literature that's been like much explored and much talked about, where like werewolves have this like monthly aspect to it that is very like, I don't know, like I'm trying to think of how to even get it. So lunacy as a term referring to like madness comes from the moon, like the idea that the moon is making people insane. Luna in lunacy. And this is also kind of where werewolves come from as a legend. And this is also has historically been tied to like the oppression of women and people who menstruate, and like menstruation also comes from mens, like meaning moon, or month, I should say. The moon, month, menstruation are all part of like a common thing. So you also have this blood motif that's present there. Like the presence of the moon is going to come up a lot in this game. There's going to be a lot more of these interlinking things between the moon and madness and blood and birth. So menstruation as it relates to birth is going to show up a lot as the game keeps going on. And one of the peculiarities of Insight, this is sort of a late game spoiler, but it also is meaningless, like you won't know what this means, but there is a maybe potential infant great one called Mergo, who is very, very late game. And if you get your insight high enough in certain areas of the game, even way before you would see Mergo, you can faintly hear a baby cry, particularly around Oedon Chapel, because it is speculated upon, like sort of a common fan theory that that Mergo might be the child of Oedon. So I don't know. Like these topics are gonna keep recurring, and Madman's knowledge will give us a little bit of potential like obtuse spoilers. One of the ones that's especially crazy is like really, really weird and really, really wild is one I won't spoil, but there's another really big one that like there's this kind of late game reveal, like last third of the game reveal that if you are able to get your insight above like 45 or something, maybe above 50 really early game, you can spoil this like major late game change of status quo, but like without context. Like you don't know why this thing would be happening, whereas like late game you will cause a thing to happen which then lets you understand and like see certain things, and sort of like the environment is changed as a result of your actions. And if you just pump your insight crazy high early in the game, like that just becomes visible, but you have no idea why it would be happening. So it's a funny thing that like hypothetically new players could trip across. Like if new players are just immediately consuming every Madman's knowledge and are like sort of accidentally farming for it in chalice dungeons or whatever, you could get sort of a late-ish game spoiler that is really, really like visually quite upsetting, and visually quite strange, without knowing what on earth is possibly going on. We'll get more into that. Later in the game. I probably won't return to that topic, but maybe some more of the stuff with the theming. We'll talk about it a little bit more, because yeah, there's a lot going on with Victorian sensibilities about mental states and emotional states and gender and the logic and reason, as the Victorians saw it, of quote-unquote civilized spaces like cities versus the sort of illogic of nature spaces, like rationality versus irrationality, logic versus emotion. These things are very concerning to people of the age of reason. I shouldn't even really say Victorians, but you know, French and German people and Dutch people and any number of Europeans who were sort of like active academically, sort of from like the mid 1700s through what we would now call modernity, even a little bit earlier than that, kind of like post-Renaissance, pre-modernity, age of enlightenment, age of reason, age of conquest. These things are going to show up a lot in this game. The other one that I missed for the sake of saying it was, in terms of how all these things relate, this idea that there's lunacy and there's lunacy, the moon, menstruation, blood, werewolves. The other one that fits into this, and well, there's actually a bunch more. I should brush up on my some of my notes, so to speak. But one of the other ones that gets talked about and is pretty well known, of course, is the term hysteria, referring to a kind of irrational madness. Comes from, I believe, the Greek word for the uterus, and this idea that like women were mad or were being driven mad by this imbalance caused by an organ in their body, is a really kind of like horribly misogynist and problematic trope across the board. Not just misogynist, but I suppose yeah, sort of bioethically dubious, bioethically contemptible, one might even say, take on these things. So, you know, we'll get into all of those topics later, because there's definitely going to be a lot more of it. There's definitely a lot of this stuff in this game, and I think I've mentioned, as with the Lovecraft stuff, I actually think this game does a really good job of like subverting how this stuff gets talked about typically. So I would love to dive more into that as we delve deeper. So next time we are going to go back to the Cathedral Ward and push deeper in there, depending on what comes out of that. I think there's a lot of different things we could do, because we could push further into Old Yharnam. We can push further into Cathedral Ward. I think we can push into a forest space as well from Cathedral Ward, which potentially leads other places. Maybe we can't go that far though. Well, you know, we'll figure it out. We'll explore. Despite all that I know about this game, I am also in my own way new to it. So, oh, well, that was an accident of me putting my controller down, trigger side first. So, thank you for listening to my rambling. You know, we'll actually explore and do some more fighting and stuff next session. So, thanks so much for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.